Let's consider now the following two functions. F of x is square root of x minus 1, and g of x as square root of x minus 2. We know the domain for each one. So for this one, for f, is those values in R such that x is bigger than 1. For g, it's those values in R that satisfy this condition. Okay? So now we want to find the domain of G circle F. By definition, it's those values in R such that x is in the domain of F and f of x is in the domain of G. What this one gives us is that x in the domain of F means that x is bigger than 1, and f of x, which is x minus 1, is in the domain of G. That means it's bigger than 2. Okay, so we have these two conditions. So we need to see where these two conditions give. So we have x bigger than 1 and this one here. So square root of x minus 1 bigger than 2 gives us x minus 1 bigger than 4, and we take x 1 to both sides, we get x bigger than 5. So we have these two conditions. Okay, so we have x in R such that x bigger than 1 and x is bigger than 5. This gives us x is bigger than 5. So the domain is these values, 5 plus infinity, is this interval. Okay? We restrict or we intersect these two conditions. X is bigger than 1 and x is bigger than 5 gives us that x is bigger than 5. That means 5 plus infinity. For the other function, f circle G is those values in R such that x is in the domain of G and g of x is in the domain of F. This one gives us that x is in R. X in domain of G means that x is bigger than 2, and g of x in the domain of F means that x is bigger than g of x is bigger than 1. So we get x is in R such that x is bigger than 2, and g of x is the square root of x minus 2 bigger than 1. So this one, so to simplify this condition, we have we need to have x minus 2 bigger than 1. That means x is bigger than 3. Okay, so we have these two conditions, x in R such that x is bigger than 2 and x is bigger than 3. And this gives us the domain is 3 plus infinity. So this is the domain for this one. So now we can compose. Now we can get the expressions. So we have f circle G of x is f of g of x. So it's the square root of g of x minus 1, which is square root of g of x minus 2 minus 1. Okay, and g of f of x is g of f of x, which is f of x minus 2, which is square root of x minus 1 minus 2. And this function, the first one is defined when x is bigger than 5. This one is defined when x is bigger than 3. So that's how we get the domain of definition. We have to work carefully using the rules. Okay, so we see the restriction on F or G, and when we compose, we check what other conditions we need on F. We combine the conditions on F and G to get the domain, like in here. Okay, so that's how we get the composition of this domain. To make sure that you get this one right, you can just graph these two functions and graph the functions that you get and see what you get. You can use like some computer algebra system and check your results. Thank you.